And then, everything began to shift. The crowds were still there, the miracles were still happening, but something was different. The tension was rising, not quietly, not slowly, but steadily, because the more he revealed, the more divided people became. Some saw hope, others saw a threat, and the closer he moved toward his purpose, the darker the atmosphere became. Then came a moment that looked like victory. He entered Jerusalem, crowds everywhere, shouting, celebrating, Hosanna. They laid down palm branches, welcomed him like a king, and for a moment, it looked like everything was falling into place. But they didn't understand. This wasn't the kind of king they were expecting. Not one who would take power, but one who would surrender it. And in the middle of celebration, a decision had already been made. Behind closed doors, plans were forming. One of his own was about to betray him. Not a stranger, not an enemy, but someone close. Judas. Someone who walked with him, heard him, saw everything, and still chose something else. 30 pieces of silver, that's all it took. Think about that. Being that close to truth, and still missing it. That night, they sat together. The final meal. No chaos. No tension on the surface. Just a table, bread, silence. And then, he said it. One of you will betray me. Imagine the room. Confusion, shock, silence. Each one asking, is it me? Because deep down, they didn't trust themselves. And then, he broke the bread. This is my body. He lifted the cup. This is my blood. Not symbols of comfort, but of sacrifice. And still, they didn't fully understand. After that, they went to a garden, dark, quiet, still, and for the first time, you see something different. Not power, not authority, but weight, pressure. He knew what was coming, and he felt it. Father, if it is possible, take this away from me. Pause. But not what I want. What you want. That's surrender. Real surrender. And then, lights in the distance. Voices. Footsteps. Judas. And with a kiss, everything changed. He was arrested. Not because he couldn't escape, but because he didn't. The disciples ran. Fear took over. And just like that, he stood alone. Then came the trials. Not fair, not just. False accusations, twisted words, and silence. He didn't defend himself. He didn't fight back. Why? Because this was never about proving innocence. It was about fulfilling purpose. Then came the crowd. The same voices that once shouted, Hosanna, now shouting something else. Crucify him. People change fast when truth doesn't meet their expectations. And then, the sentence was given. Death. Not just any death. The cross. Slow, painful, public. They beat him, mocked him, humiliated him, placed a crown of thorns on his head, called him king, as a joke. And still, he said nothing. Then they led him to the place, Golgotha, and there, they nailed him. Hands, feet, lifted him up, between heaven and earth. And in that moment, everything seemed lost. Darkness covered the sky. Silence filled the air. And then, he spoke. Father, forgive them. Not anger, not revenge. Forgiveness. Even now, even here. And then, it is finished. Not defeat. Completion. And with that, he breathed his last. Silence. The ground shook. The temple curtain tore. And for a moment, everything stopped. The one they followed was gone. Hope buried. Dreams shattered. And the world went quiet again. 3 days. No miracles. No movement. Just silence. But then, something happened. Something no one expected. The stone was moved. The tomb was empty. At first, confusion, fear, doubt. But then, he appeared, alive. Not as a memory, not as a story, but real. Walking, speaking, and everything changed. Death didn't win. The cross wasn't the end. It was the beginning. And suddenly, all the pain, all the confusion, all the questions made sense. Because this was never about loss. It was about redemption. Not about the end of a life, but the beginning of something eternal. And that changes everything, forever.